I bought my first Hostinger plan in 2017. Then I was looking for something cheap to host what was my first business venture ever, a tech blog that I would monetize through ads. And at the time, I didn't even realize it, but I joined a web hosting revolution in the making. And even though that website never took off and is pretty much dead, 5 years later, I'm still using Hostinger. Why? I tried to piece it all together, and to answer this question, it's important for us to understand how hosting companies make money and how this method changed over the years. Hosting companies are essentially real estate businesses of the internet. They buy, sell, and rent land for your websites to live on. That means they invest a large amount of money upfront into server space and then try to make that money back through renting. Here's the problem with this. For the longest time ever, web hosting businesses were all about convincing you to rent as much server space as possible and not use it. Because if you're not using it, they can rent that same server space to other people. Fewer servers, more users, more money. Of course, this created more problems. Web hosting services had unusable interfaces almost by design, making it as hard as possible to use the services you just paid for, hiding features and charging you the absolute maximum to recoup server costs as fast as possible. Companies weren't really connected with their users. They were just offloading their garbage to people and hoped nobody noticed. But this business model started to shift starting somewhere around 2015 with the rise of simplicity. Netflix, cheap and simple. Spotify, cheap and simple. Dollar Shave Club, cheap and simple. You get the idea. And this is where I believe Hostinger, as a company, started to change the web hosting industry as a whole. In 2016, their services cost around $5. In 2017 and 18, it was $2.20. In 2019, it was $1.45. And in 2020, it was just 80 cents. You could get a 4-year hosting plan for like $38. At the same time, the quality of their services kept increasing exponentially. Better interfaces, faster servers, and more features. The combination of increasingly lower pricing and better quality services positioned Hostinger as a client-first company amongst the sea of complex competitors. Hostinger had found the new age formula for a hosting business: connect with your customer and help them succeed. Hosting, SSL certificates, basic email hosting, and 24/7 support were all included in the 80 cents a month price tag, and all of it was simple to use. People were even encouraged to use their plans to the maximum through intuitive interfaces, online tutorials, webinars, and extensive knowledge base articles. All of the money that Hostinger earned, they poured it right back into their software and hardware. For example, in 2019, they made a full switch to Lightspeed servers instead of regular Apache ones, and they made sure that all of the advantages of Lightspeed were activated by default for every single user. It didn't matter which plan you had. This took their server response time from an average of 0.5 seconds to an incredible 0.1 seconds. And this didn't cost anything extra to the users, because instead of selling server space, they started selling success to your site. Instead of buying raw computing power and resources, you were buying a full-on service. And this showed. Hostinger went from 2.3 million in sales in 2016 to 23.4 million in sales in 2020. So how did the service evolve over the past 5 years for me as a customer? The price seems to be climbing from the 2020 era of Hostinger. Slowly but surely, there are small increases in price for the cheapest plan and a decrease in price for the more expensive ones. To me, it seems like Hostinger is trying to push the more expensive plans on you, but don't be tricked. If the cheapest one is enough for you, go for that one. Keep in mind that Hostinger plans are advertised as monthly, but you do have to pay the full amount upfront. Since I usually pay for 1 or 2 years in advance, it's $50 to $100 per year, and I just pay that and honestly kind of forget about it, since there is no need to buy extra features afterwards. One of the biggest negatives I've noticed is the support getting worse. The response times are longer and complicated problems don't get solved as fast as I would like for them to. I believe as user counts grow, the physically just can't hire enough skilled people to keep up, so I expect this to only get worse before it gets better. I've had a domain transfer issue this year. It took me 2 months to get it solved with Hostinger. Of course, this is an extreme event, but I feel like every time I contact the support nowadays, it's a 20 to 30 minutes wait on average at minimum. The performance is currently the best it has ever been. I try to monitor whenever my websites go offline, and usually it's just a micro outage of 1 to 2 seconds. In the past, like 2019 to 2020, I had instances where my site was offline for 1 or 2 hours at a time. I haven't noticed this for the past year. You can also track outages through the tools Hostinger provides you with, and of course there are still small internal errors in the user panel here or there, or it loads slowly from time to time. But new features keep getting added at no additional cost, software updates are made available as well. I've created this website using Hostinger for a tutorial this week and it loads in 0.7 seconds. That's pretty much as fast as you can get. Okay, so after all of this, why do I use Hostinger? Because for the most part, I feel like I'm getting a fair service. I can get everything done that I need to get done, and I can appreciate a company that tries to innovate once in a while instead of trying to grab as much profit as possible. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review or me sharing my experiences and this helped on your web hosting journey. My name is Emmett and I'll see you in the next video.